Hi friends, welcome to this video on planet Rahu. Alright, now Rahu is looked upon as a very powerful planet. Alright, now especially in this Kali Yuga, so definitely Rahu is the kingmaker or the game changer actually. So it is a very powerful planet. How this planet is placed in your chart, you need to see in which zodiac sign, in which house it is placed. Rahu is the unfinished karma that you have to fulfill in this lifetime, and that is why you were born actually. Alright, so Ketu is definitely connected to your past life and past life karma. Okay, something which you were involved. You have expertise in that area wherever Ketu is there, because you have dealt with that too much in your past life. So in this life you've got Ketu in that house or zodiac sign, especially in that house which signifies a certain area of your life. So now in this lifetime you're not much attached to that house, right? But wherever you have Rahu, so that shows your unfinished karma that you have to fulfill in this lifetime. Okay, there is no escape from that. And so Rahu energy manifests itself in the form of obsession, desires, alright, unfulfilled desires. Now friends, it's very important to note that Rahu is a shadow planet. So in order to know how Rahu is exactly placed in your chart, you need to look at the dispositor, Rahu's dispositor. Say if Rahu is in Gemini in your birth chart, then Gemini sign is ruled by Mercury. Then you have to find out how Mercury is placed in your chart. Okay, in which house, in which zodiac sign, in conjunction with which planets, aspected by which planets, and so on. That will also give you a very important clue about the unfinished karma in this lifetime, which Rahu is signifying. Okay, now friends, so look at the dispositor, very important. Now I will talk about Rahu in all 12 houses, from the 1st to the 12th house, and Rahu through all signs, Aries to Pisces. Now when Rahu will be in the 1st house, or if Rahu will be in Aries, then definitely the results will be similar. Okay, to some extent, to a great extent, results will be similar. And one more important thing, in this video you can look at Rahu's position in your D9 chart. Okay, you can look at that, because when Rahu is in D9 in a certain sign and in a certain house, that also speaks a lot about what you're going to focus on in this lifetime. Okay, what will be your focus, so that will also signify. So you should look at Rahu's position in D1 and D9 both. Alright, and whatever results I will discuss, you can apply it to your Rahu's position in D1 and D9. But remember, Rahu's position in the D9, or Rahu's placement in the D9, that gets actually activated after the age of 33 onwards. Okay, so from that age onwards, the D9 chart or Navamsha chart gets activated properly. Okay, so that is the chart of your fortune, D9. So it gets activated from around the age of 33 onwards. And also that is again the chart of marriage. So even if you suppose after your marriage also, if you have got married, then, or whenever you will get married, so the D9 chart gets activated. Okay, so D9 placement, zodiac sign or placement of Rahu in D9, that you have to take note of that. Okay, so that will become active later on in life. But that is also D9 is a chart which is actually very close to your inherent nature. Actually D9 chart or Navamsha chart is there, the planets, what they show, that is how you are as a person in essence actually. Alright, So wherever you will see Rahu has gone to the D9, so that is something which you are actually chasing in this lifetime. D1 is a chart which is going to be functional and which is going to be definitely position of Rahu in D9 will be valid throughout your lifetime, from the time of your infancy onwards, or even from your birth till the end of your journey on this earth. So that will remain valid, D1 position. Okay, Rahu's position in D1 chart or Lagna chart or Rashi chart, whatever you call. But again, D1 is a chart which shows how you are and how you are actually perceived by the world outside. The world outside, the people, how they actually perceive you, that is D1 actually. Definitely it is also connected to your personality, yes, but mainly as how you are perceived. Alright, so D1 chart also, Rahu's position in D1, definitely that will impact your life also to a great extent, right? But yeah, you should also look at Rahu's position in D9, which will be operational from the age of 33 onwards. Let us now get started. If Rahu is in Aries or if Rahu is in the first house, what we can say? Generally, such a person may be obsessed with their looks. All right. At the time of the birth of the individual, maybe their mother had to face certain issues, certain difficulty. It's possible. Some ancestor was reborn, like at the time they were born. They carry, whoever have Rahu in the first house or in Aries, they may carry the soul of some ancestor. So some ancestor is reborn in the family, okay, and so they may carry the soul of that ancestor. It's possible. Then when Rahu is in the first house, such people generally, they can be very self-centered, okay. Now if Rahu is aspected by benefics, okay, in the chart, then definitely they will focus on their life, they will focus on acquiring knowledge. Suppose if Rahu is being aspected by Jupiter also, they could be into research, okay. So they will be obsessed in a way with themselves, but for a good reason, when the aspect of benefics is there. All right, so they will be rightfully focused on their life. They will focus on their things, their affairs, their growth, their prosperity. So it's all about themselves, but they are not going to harm others in any way, because they will be maybe focusing on their research, on acquiring some hidden knowledge. They'll be busy with investigation and all that. They could also, when Rahu is in the first house or in Aries, the native may go to a foreign land and settle down there. So all these things can happen, can have great foreign connections, foreign land, or their settlement in a foreign land or foreign lands can play a very important role in their life, okay. So they could be into occult field also. They could be into any sort of research, investigation, anything, any sort of technology and all. But if Rahu is associated in it's a first house and it is associated with certain planets which are kind of malefics, or if it's connected with planets which are not benefics, especially in the chart, then what will happen? The person may encounter a lot of obstacles in life, okay. A lot of obstacles. There could be a lot of confusion, illusion. The person may get into addiction. The person may be very selfish, okay. The person may violate all social norms, traditions. The person may be an outcast, may be an imposter. The person may be a rebellion. The person may be a rebel. They may be a rebel, so they may be into rebellion, They may revolt against all social norms, rules, regulations and all that. So yeah, so they may be looked upon as a very mysterious, suspicious personality, and they may be very secretive, okay? So they may be so obsessed with their own desires, and that's it. They may not be concerned at all about others. So these things will happen. If Rahu's dispositor is also not well placed in the chart, then these things can happen, okay? So such people can be very manipulative. They can also cheat on others and for their own gains and so on. But if Rahu's dispositor is well placed, aspected by Jupiter and so on, then definitely such people can be very intelligent. They can move into research, investigation, into any field of hidden mysterious knowledge, and that can enable them to bring about a positive change in their lives, okay? So yeah, all these things can happen. All right, so if Rahu is under benefic influence in the first house or in Aries, then such people are born with a purpose. Actually, they will have to fulfill that purpose, and they are focusing on fulfilling their life purpose, their life goal, okay? So they could be, that is why they seem to be different, they seem to be unconventional, because they are chasing some target, they are on a mission actually, and they have to fulfill, because that is the unfinished desire, okay? So it could be their desire to, do investigation, research, to go into any field of, it could be the field of science, it could be any field of law, it could be the occult, any field, all right? Yeah, and they are definitely going to be successful then also, when you have Rahu in the first house or in Aries, and if it is well placed. Now let's move on to Rahu in, but yeah, one thing, they can be obsessed with their looks, how they look. So yeah, they could never be satisfied with the way they look, okay? So that is also possible, yeah. Now let's move on to Rahu in the second house, or Rahu in Taurus. When Rahu is in the second house, then if Rahu is not so well placed, then there could be conflicts with your family members. Your family could live in a foreign land, you could be away from your family, this is possible. If Rahu is more or less well placed and aspected by benefics, then you will be very much attached to your family. Even if you live away from them, you will be attached to them. If not aspected by benefics, then there will be quarrels with family members. Now, Rahu in the second house, you may love foreign food, or your food habits may be a little strange, different, unconventional, possible. And then it is not considered to be generally a very good placement for marital life when you have Rahu in the second house, okay? It's not considered to be good for marriage or marital life, okay? Yeah, it's possible. Now, when Rahu is in the second house also, or in Rahu is in Taurus, then definitely the person may love to, may be obsessed with food also, exploring various kinds of cuisines, it's possible, alright? So their speech, their way of speaking can be very unique, very different. So if Rahu is under benefic influence, then whatever they will speak will set them apart from others. They will have an extraordinary way of speaking which can be very attractive. But if Rahu is again ill placed in the second house, or if it's in Taurus and if it's not in good dignity, somehow connected with other malefics, then their speech could hurt others. Because of their speech, they could get into quarrels and problems with others. That's also possible. When Rahu is in the second house or in Taurus, then Taurus is part of the Earth trine, right? So such people can be very materialistic actually. They are very materialistic because this is a trine of materialistic pursuits. And Rahu is also a planet which is materialistic, so they can be obsessed with gaining money, okay, earning money, accumulating money. That's possible. All right. Now, if again Rahu in Taurus, if you look at how Moon is placed in the chart, I told you need to look at Rahu's dispositor. So if Moon is more or less well placed, then such people can also be very creative. They can be very creative, they can have very original ideas, okay, they can be highly intuitive, and they can also earn a lot of money in their lifetime. They can earn a lot of wealth in their lifetime if Moon is well placed in the chart. And if Rahu is in Taurus or in the second house. Now Moon, because Moon gets exalted in Taurus, that is why I mentioned Moon. But yes, if Rahu is in Taurus, the dispositor will be Venus, okay, and second house is also ruled by Venus. So definitely you should look at the position of Moon, but you should also look at the position of Venus in the chart. So if Venus is also more or less well placed, then such people with Rahu in Taurus, they will end up gaining a lot of money, a lot of wealth in this lifetime. They can be very creative also, okay, very creative, and they can use their creativity and originality in their work, in their business, and that can enable them to gain or amass a huge amount of wealth in their lifetime. That is also possible. All right. Now in this lifetime you have Rahu in the second house or Taurus. That means you have some unfinished karma pertaining to wealth or to family, okay, some unfinished karma, okay. So when you may be attached to your family, it's possible. So maybe you need to somehow be dutiful towards your family. Again, that could be a remedy for Rahu in the second house or even in Taurus. And if Rahu is in Taurus or in the second house, we can also say that you have a great desire to earn wealth. In your last life, you were not focusing much on wealth, on money, or you were not focusing on your hard work. So in this lifetime, you have to adopt a very methodical, systematic approach to your work so that you can end up gaining a lot of money in this lifetime. So that is your purpose. You want to be wealthy, rich, okay. And so somewhere you are actually, somehow you'll be chasing your target so badly, and you'll be so obsessed with making money that you may even neglect your spouse. That is also possible with this placement when Rahu is in the second house or in Taurus. Now let's move on to Rahu in Gemini. When Rahu is in Gemini, this is considered, or in the third house, this is considered to be a very good placement. So definitely communication skills can play a very important role in your life. Alright. When Rahu is in Gemini, you could be also connected to technology, any field of technology, communication skills. Alright. So you could be connected to that, if especially somehow the 10th Lord Saturn has some connection with Rahu. Alright, and anyway, because the third house is the house of skills also, any kind of skills, even professional skills that we acquire in order to prosper, in order to get fortunate in life. So you may have a great desire to acquire skills, alright. You may have a lot of hobbies, interests, and at times also you maybe initially in life, such a person with Rahu in Gemini could be confused also, because Rahu is also a planet of illusion. So you may be confused, what I should actually take up, what I should choose, what should be my line of profession, what skill I need to acquire. So all these doubts may grip you. It's possible. But again, you need to actually make the choice. You have to choose now, okay. So when Rahu is in Gemini, you have to actually you have to figure out what skills you really want to acquire. Rahu and Gemini people can be very intelligent if Mercury is well placed in the chart. Rahu in the 3rd house or Rahu in Gemini, look at how Mercury is placed. If Mercury is more or less well placed, such people will be very intelligent. They will have great insights into reality. Okay, they can be very diplomatic, because Gemini is again a dual sign. They can be very diplomatic. They can have also problem solving skills also, because they'll be very intelligent. All right. So, and such people, no, they could be obsessed with their own desires, because 3rd house is 3rd house and Gemini sign, both are connected to the Kama Trikona, the trine of materialistic desires. So they will have a lot of desire to form networks with people, to gain from their endeavors, to gain wealth in life. They will have great desire. All right. Rahu is also the planet of desire in the house of desires, or in Gemini, which is a sign of desires. So that is generally a good placement, and here Rahu feels very comfortable generally. But yes, Mercury should be more or less well placed. If not, you should do remedies for Mercury. All right. So donate something, some money, or see whatever you can donate, something valuable to children in orphanages. Okay, be kind to them, plant trees, water trees. So these are some remedies for if Mercury is not well placed, you can do these remedies. Now Rahu in Gemini, also you have some pending karma or unfinished karma with your younger siblings. That's possible. All right. So you may not get along well with them, you may be away from them. But again, if Rahu is under benefic influence, you can be attached to them also, very much attached to your younger siblings. Actually, you need to fulfill some karma, okay, pertaining to your younger siblings or cousins maybe, or some friends, or even somebody in the neighborhood. So some pending karma, some unfinished karma. If somebody is in need of help, okay, anyone, I've mentioned all these people, your younger siblings, younger cousins, neighbors and friends. If anyone is in need of help, you should reach out to them actually when you have Rahu in Gemini. All right, or in the 3rd house. Okay, so yeah, Rahu in the 3rd house or Gemini can endow you with great communication ability. If Rahu is under benefic influence, and if Mercury especially is well placed, your way of talking will be very unique, very extraordinary. You will leave an impact upon people whenever you talk, and you will also, your way of talking or communicating could be very attractive also when you have Rahu in Gemini or in the 3rd house. Okay, so yeah, and you could definitely gain if somehow Rahu is connected to Saturn or 10th Lord, okay, or even 11th Lord. You can gain from the media industry. You can be a writer, journalist, you could be a reporter, you could be a teacher. This is a very good position for being into teaching. You could even be a counselor and even a healer. You could heal people through your communication skills and counseling ability. All right. So all these things are possible when Rahu is in Gemini or in the 3rd house, and over time, this is an Upachaya house, 3rd house. So over time, Rahu in 3rd house, or even if Rahu is in Gemini, you will get good results, because 3rd house is the house of efforts. Okay, and Gemini is also connected to your skills and efforts. So if you really make efforts intelligently, you have to use your intelligence actually, and you have to make efforts along a meaningful direction. Then over time you will become very successful. All right, so yeah, you will be very successful. And also I've seen people who have Rahu in Gemini, if Rahu is under associated with benefics, they may also later on become very charitable in nature. Okay, they become charitable in nature. They give donations to orphanages, to people in need. So yeah, they become charitable. They become later on in life, they may also become very religious. once they have accomplished or fulfilled their materialistic desires, their materialistic desires, their financial goals have been met more or less, then they may also turn towards charity, and they should do that actually also. So yeah, now let's move on to Rahu in Cancer. Alright, Rahu is in Cancer or in the 4th house. There is a lot of pending karma, unfinished karma pertaining to your mother or to your home. Alright, so you need to take care of that. You may have conflicts, differences of opinion with your mother. You may be away from your mother or from your home, but again you may be attached to your home or to your mother. So you need to fulfill your responsibilities towards your mother, towards your home. Actually, you need to give importance to your home. That's very important actually when you have Rahu in Cancer, and you will also be attached to your home. This is possible. Okay, you could be so very obsessed with domestic matters and family matters that at times you may not be able to give proper time, or you may not be able to focus properly on your profession. It's possible when you have Rahu in Cancer. Alright, you are somehow so occupied with all matters of your home that at times you may feel that it's very challenging to focus on your profession. This can happen. Alright, people who have Rahu in Cancer or Rahu in the 4th house, they need to balance things well, because they need also to maintain a work and life balance, a proper balance between their personal life, family life and professional life. So that's very important for people who have Rahu in Cancer, because such people, they are over emotional also. They're very emotional because Moon, see how Moon is placed in the chart. If Moon is more or less well placed, you will see that these people are very emotional, very sensitive, and also highly intuitive. Okay, so yeah, if Rahu in Cancer or Rahu is in the 4th house, from there Rahu is directly aspecting your 10th house. So if your profession is and Rahu in Cancer, if Rahu has connection with Saturn or 10th Lord, then your profession definitely could be connected to in-depth study, research, to the use of intuition. You could be a psychologist, you could be a healer, you could be an astrologer, you could go into any field of investigation and research as well. When you have Rahu in Cancer or Rahu in the 4th house, you could be a very good Vastu consultant. You could be obsessed with property, you will want to gain property in this lifetime. You will want to kind of expand your assets. You may not be happy with one house that you have. You may want to have a number of apartments or flats, or you want to have more and more assets possible. You want to have more and more wealth. So that is also possible, because Rahu is in the sign of Cancer, and the Cancer ruled by Moon, and Rahu is in the 4th house. 4th house and Moon both are connected to assets, to property, and Moon is also connected to money. So it's possible. Such people may run after money a lot. That is possible. They can make use of their intuition, they can make use of their power to investigate and research things, and they can make use of all these qualities in them to make money. It's possible. But after all, Cancer and 4th house, they are connected to the trine of moksha. So such people eventually, they may have a tendency, and they should have actually a tendency to move towards charity, helping out people. You should be charitable to the downtrodden, to the physically handicapped, people who are mentally or physically challenged or differently abled. You should actually be compassionate towards them. That's the greatest remedy for Rahu in Cancer. You also have some unfinished karma pertaining to those people. Alright, you need to take care of them. Okay, and you need to be kind and charitable towards them when you have Rahu in Cancer or Rahu in the 4th house. Right? You may go away from your homeland, it's possible. You may have a home in a foreign land, you may go away from your homeland, settle down somewhere else when you have this placement of Rahu. Right? So if you go away from your homeland, it can make you prosperous. That is also possible. Now let's move on to Rahu in Leo or in the 5th house. When you have this placement of Rahu, such a person could be obsessed about their child. They could be over caring, very caring, very obsessed about their child, and they could be, they may pay attention to everything. They may take note of all kinds of minute details also regarding their child, because they are very much obsessed as a parent about their child. Alright, now too much of obsession with the child may result in overindulgence also. That is something we have to be careful about. It is very good to love your child. It is very good to take care of your child, to be the provider for your child. That's what a parent is supposed to be. You are supposed to take care of your child, but do not give them indulgence. That is not good. When you pamper them too much or you give them overindulgence, then what happens? When you are, then they think that, okay, everything I get, they will take everything for granted, and you could even spoil the child. Because you're so obsessed with your child, you could end up even spoiling your child. And this is possible. Your child may lack in self-confidence also. So obsession with anything is not good, because excess of anything is bad. Yes? Yeah. So at times you need to detach yourself also as a parent and let your child grow, let your child undertake their own journey. Let your child stumble and fall and then get up again. So at times as a parent, we also need to be just an observer, an onlooker. We are always there. The parent is always there as a provider, as a guardian. Yes, but you should not give them overindulgence. That's not good. So that is one thing Rahu in Leo people have to be careful about. So what can also happen when Rahu is in the 5th house or in Leo? Later on, such people, they may have certain problems with their child also. Certain conflicts may happen. The child may go away from them. It's possible. If Rahu in the 5th house or in Leo is under benefic influences, then the child may go away because of studies. It's possible. Higher education or job. The child may go away for any positive reason. Okay. Now Rahu in Leo or in the 5th house. Again, you may love somebody who belongs to a foreign culture. It's possible. And you may be somehow distanced from your romantic partner. That is again possible when Rahu is in Leo or in the 5th house. Okay. So, or again, if the person belongs to the same culture, then there could be conflicts with that person. That's possible. There could be problems, friction in the relationship. That's also possible. Rahu in the 5th house, Rahu in Leo, definitely you have some unfinished karma, pending karma pertaining to your child. If you have a child, then yes, some unfinished karma. Maybe definitely you really want to see your child prosper and you feel that you have to be the provider. That's true. And you will have to also, maybe you have to really be a caring parent. Yes. So definitely some pending karma attached to the child is there. So always be there to provide the child with proper guidance whenever they need actually. Okay. So, but yes, don't pamper them too much. Now, when Rahu is in Leo or in the 5th house, some pending karma, unfinished karma could be connected to somebody you love. That's possible. You feel that, yeah, I really connect with that person, and that is a very soulful, spiritual connection. So I really need to connect with that person. I really need to somehow keep in touch with the person. Definitely, you can have that desire. You could be obsessed with that desire. That's possible. Some pending karma. Maybe you came into their life to help them come out of some problem, maybe. So yeah, because Rahu is definitely connected to our past life. Okay, so in our past life we were not focusing so much on our child, we were not focusing much on knowledge or even on love. So in this lifetime you have got Rahu in the 5th house or in Leo. Okay, so in this lifetime you have a lot of karma attached also to your knowledge, the knowledge that you have to acquire. Even it could be even your formal education, the knowledge that you desire to gain, to attain. All right, so you will have a great desire to acquire knowledge. This will happen when you have Rahu in Leo or in the 5th house. Again, there could be some obstacles in the path of education or acquiring knowledge. If you move to a foreign land for acquiring education or knowledge, then it can be good for you. All right, if you move to a foreign place, it will be better. Or if you undertake travel, go to some other place for education purpose, it could be better. Or you could acquire knowledge in any field which is connected to something hidden, mysterious, secretive, occult. All right, so if you want to gain knowledge in any of these fields, it is good. You could also gain knowledge in psychology with this placement. All right, you could be into occult fields. You could also maybe explore religious texts, and you could have a very different view, a very different take on what is given in the religious texts, and you may not you may question even scriptures, because Rahu is the ultimate rebellion. So Rahu in Leo, Rahu in the 5th house, such people, they may question even their own religion. They may get drawn towards some other religion. It's possible. Okay, so yeah, that is again possible. So their religious philosophy could be very strange, extraordinary. That is also possible. All right, Rahu is not under benefic influence in the 5th house, then such people can be very manipulative by nature. All right, they can use their knowledge, some knowledge that they have, no? So it could be the knowledge of something which is mysterious, secretive. So they may use that knowledge to manipulate others, to even cheat on others. They may misuse their knowledge actually for their own benefits. So they could be very manipulative also. If Rahu is not under benefic influence, is somehow associated not with benefics in the 5th house, then these things are possible. And by default, such people, if Rahu is placed in the 5th house or in Leo, such people, they can be manipulative also by nature. Okay, because after all, the 5th house or Leo, they are connected to the trine of your nature, the dharma trine. Okay, they may compromise on their responsibilities also. They may run away from their duties also at times. If that comes in the way of their progress in life, then they may escape from duty, responsibility. That is also possible. All right, but yeah, if under benefic influence, then such people can be great healers, occultists, astrologer. Such people can be scientists. They can definitely have a very different take on religious philosophy, and they may do a lot of research, investigation in any field. So these things can happen. Now let's move on to Rahu in Virgo or in the 6th house. So when you have this placement of Rahu Alright, now some pending karma attached to your day-to-day work. It could be your job. Alright, so you are very much obsessed with doing a job. You really want a job. You are obsessed with your daily routine. But again, there could be challenges that you may encounter in maintaining a proper routine life, because Rahu in the 6th house or in Virgo, you always get up in the morning with the mindset that yeah, today I have to finish all this, today I have to do all that, whatever, a certain amount of work I have to kind of finish all that. I have to be regular, I have to be disciplined. But again, you may encounter certain obstacles there. That is possible because Rahu in Virgo people, or Rahu in the 6th house people, they are very analytical by nature and very intelligent. Look at how Mercury is placed in the chart. I always want to tell you, you need to look at Rahu's dispositor, how it is placed, how Mercury is placed in your chart. Mercury is well placed, and such people will be great intellectuals. They will have great knowledge, insights into reality. They'll be highly analytical in nature. So maybe they want to do something, and they, on a day-to-day basis, maybe they are concerned with something which they have to do. Now, while they go to do that, they may analyze things in such a way that, because they're analytical bent of mind, so they are supposed to finish a certain amount of work in a certain on a certain day, okay? But when they go to actually do that work, what will happen? They will also come up with many other things. They will notice many other things, maybe because they are very detail oriented, and then they will again get lost in analysis. They will again, while they were actually doing that work which they are supposed to do on a given day, they will come up with other issues. They will notice other discrepancies, problems, or problem areas to which also they need to pay attention. Because such people with Rahu in Virgo or Rahu in the 6th house, they are very meticulous about details. They are very detail oriented. And they have a great analytical bent of mind. So such people can do very well as if they try to become researchers, scientists, if they become investigators, they do very well. Alright? Yeah. And that is why it is so challenging for them to, fulfill their daily routine. Because when you are lost in analysis and you go to the depth of things, and then you are lost. So you have to go there, you have to go deep, analyze things, and by the time you come back and realize, and you will wake up to the reality that, oh, it's already too late. Maybe you have forgotten your lunch, maybe you have skipped a meal of the day. So these things can happen with people who have Rahu in Virgo, Rahu in the 6th house. They are very analytical. So it's a very good position for getting into the field of law. Actually, it's a very good position for getting into medical science. It's a very good position for doing any sort of research, any sort of investigation, because it blesses you with great analytical ability when you have Rahu with this placement. Alright, now Rahu in Virgo or Rahu in the 6th house. Be careful about your digestive system. So you could have certain issues with your digestion. It is possible. Okay, you need to take care of the food that you take. Take food which is easily digestible. Otherwise, there could be some issues with your intestines or digestive system. It's possible. Alright. Now, Rahu in Virgo or Rahu in the 6th house. So, yeah. If not so well placed, then you may encounter problems at your workplace. You may enter into conflicts with people at your workplace. It's possible. But if Mercury is well placed in your chart, then you will be able to win over your enemies. You will defeat all your enemies. Actually, you will defeat all your enemies. If there is a litigation, court case, you will come out victorious. Okay, if there are disputes, you will be able to come out of all disputes and you will become victorious. If there is a disease, you will be able to fight against that disease, and somehow you will come out of that disease also. So this will happen when Rahu is well placed in the 6th house. Generally this is 6th house is an Upachaya Bhava, and here Rahu is generally considered to be good. If Rahu is placed in the 6th house or in Virgo, it is generally considered to be good actually. If Mercury is more or less well placed, if not, do remedies for Mercury. If Mercury is more or less well placed, then you will win over your enemies. Okay, and you will come out of all problems and all troubles denoted by the 6th house. But if you have a weak Mercury, then you may suffer from disease, health issues also. So yeah, so that's what you have to see. Look at the dispositor of Rahu. Okay, yeah, so all these things we can say. Rahu in 6th house or Rahu in Virgo, such people can go into any field of research, investigation. So they can also go into the occult fields. Yeah, they can go into any field of occult knowledge. And 6th house is the trine of materialistic pursuits, and Rahu is a materialistic planet. So such people can be very materialistic also. They will believe, they will be obsessed with their day-to-day work and with their profession, and obsessed with gaining wealth. So they are very materialistic actually. So if you are using your analytical skills properly in your day-to-day work, then you can end up gaining a huge amount of wealth in your lifetime, and you can definitely become very successful in your profession as well. Okay, you can be successful in all your materialistic pursuits with this placement of Rahu in Virgo or in the 6th house. Now let's move on to Rahu in Libra or in the 7th house. This placement is generally not considered to be good for marriage, right? Unless your spouse is from a foreign land. If your spouse is from a foreign culture, then it is okay. Okay, or if they are somebody who belongs to a foreign land, or they speak a totally different language, or they are from a different religion, then it is okay. Okay, otherwise there could be problems when you have Rahu in Libra or Rahu in the 7th house. Such people, Rahu is a planet of secrecy and mystery also. So if Rahu is not so well placed in the 7th house or in Libra, then what will happen? Look at dispositor. Rahu's dispositor is Venus, how Venus is well placed in the chart. So if Rahu is not so well placed, then such people can have illicit relationships with people of the opposite gender. Such people can have secretive relationships with someone outside marriage. That is also possible. Alright, they can be very secretive about their relationships. Now when you have Rahu in Libra, you have Rahu in the 7th house. Then 7th house is part of the trine of materialistic desires. Okay, so with this position, such a person may be obsessed with their own desires. The desire for the opposite gender, their desire for being in an intimate relationship with somebody, their desire maybe even to do business and to gain profits from their business. So they will have a lot of desires actually. Alright, so if Venus is well placed, they will be able to do well in independent business or partnership business if Venus is well placed. Alright, or else they will encounter, if Venus is not so well placed, they will encounter problems in their business. Okay, if they move to a foreign land for their business, it's going to be good for their business. Okay, some pending karma, unfinished karma attached to your spouse actually, right? So even if you have conflicts with your spouse, or somehow you feel that you are getting distance from your spouse, you need to be dutiful towards your spouse. That is the remedy for Rahu in Libra or in the 7th house. Okay, so that is your pending karma. You have to be caring towards your spouse. Now if Rahu is in Libra or in the 7th house, and if it's more or less associated with benefics, or its dispositor is well placed, then definitely you can be very much attached to your spouse also, because Rahu can show attachment. Then you'll be very much attached to your spouse. You can be very much you'll focus a lot on your independent business also, and you will be able to fulfill all your desires, accomplish all your desires also in this life. It's possible. Okay, yeah. So if Venus is not so well placed, then yeah, people with Rahu in Libra or Rahu in the 7th house, you have to be careful. Protect yourself or stay away from illicit relationships, illegal or illicit relationships with people of the opposite gender. So you should stay away from all that actually. Okay, only then you'll be able to actually fulfill your true desires. Only then your desire, your desire to have a beautiful relationship with your spouse, your desire to gain from your work endeavors. So all those desires will be granted if you are taking care of your spouse, if you are actually focusing on your independent business. It is better not to do partnership business when you have Rahu in Libra or in the 7th house, because your partner can betray you. It's possible. So it may not be easy for you to trust your business partner. So better you do independent business on your own. Okay, or if your partner is from a foreign land, then it is okay. All right. So yeah, this is the Kama Trikona, that the sign of Libra or 7th house, they are connected to the trine of desires. So yeah, so such people with Rahu in Libra or in the 7th house, they will keep chasing their desires. They will be a slave to their desires actually. They'll be so obsessed with their wishes and desires. They'll keep chasing them actually all their lives. It's possible. All right. So what you need to do is that you need to be just honest in your relationship with your spouse, honest in your dealings with people, because 7th house is also connected with how you deal with people, give and take. So no matter what profession you're into, you have to deal with people everywhere. Yes, so maintain honesty in that. That is the remedy actually for Rahu in Libra or the 7th house. Now let's move to Rahu in the 8th house or in Scorpio. This position is again a very dicey position, a very this is again it could be problematic if Rahu's dispositor is not well placed in the chart. Such a person, native with Rahu in the 8th house or in Scorpio, they could be obsessed with sex. It's possible. They could have illicit relationship with people outside marriage. All right. So because of all that, they may get into trouble again. Okay. That could not be, and such behavior actually, such relationships which are illicit, even casual sexual relationships, they drain your energy a lot. Okay, if they drain away all that creative energy that you have, so your sexual energy should not be drained in a negative way actually. That will impact your health actually. So when it impacts your health, it can impact your overall well-being. It may also impact your longevity. So people with Rahu in the 8th house or in Scorpio, they really need to be careful about all that. Yeah, so the best remedy is to, if you are married, so be faithful to your partner. If you're not married, if you're in a relationship or if you're in a committed relationship, be loyal to your committed partner. So that is an important remedy. Don't let your sexual energy don't channelize your sexual energy along directions which are futile. Okay, because after all, people with displacement, initially, especially in life, they may think that, wow, I mean, having such an intimate relationship with somebody, that is everything in life. But actually these are momentary pleasures. Yeah, and we are after all human beings. Yes, so human beings are distinguished from other creatures because they have that mental faculty. They have that power to think, okay, and to rise above these petty desires, these rise above, such momentary pleasures. Right? So when such realization dawns upon people with Rahu in Scorpio or in the 8th house, then eventually they can move towards investigation, research. So they can move towards occult, because they really want answers, okay, to various things pertaining to their life, to their existence. They may be obsessed with the occult. They may be obsessed with soul searching, self introspection, meditation, yoga. Now, these are positive things. They could get into yoga, and they could feel that, means initially they could be a little lost in life, yes, and they would be, Rahu generally gives you good results, or stops troubling a native. From the age of 42 onwards, you can experience better, results, and Rahu will stop causing that illusion, dilemma and confusion, addiction. So all these things kind of reduce after the age of 42. So by that time people realize the futility of all these things. They were engaged in all these, in fulfillment of their carnal, physical desires. They were running after chasing just momentary pleasures of the body, and later on they realized that it's so futile, it's so useless, and then they wake up actually, and then the self-realization also can happen, and then they kind of maybe turn towards being compassionate. That is also a remedy for Rahu in the 8th house. You need to do some charity towards people, especially who are physically or mentally challenged or handicapped. So you should be kind towards them, be charitable towards them, or people who are in pain, people who are suffering. You need to be attached to them somehow, attached to them emotionally, attached to them spiritually, and do something for them. That's the best remedy for Rahu in Scorpio or Rahu in the 8th house. Alright, such people may turn towards exploring some hidden, mysterious field of knowledge. So with this placement, one can be a very good astrologer, occultist. Alright, so you could be into any field of occult science. Alright, so with this placement you can be a very good psychologist also, a healer also, but then you have to focus on investigation of truth. You have to do research in any particular subject. You can be a very good lawyer also, if you're really focusing on investigating the truth. You could be a very good lawyer, you could be a very good healer. You could also heal people through medical science, through surgery. All these things are also possible with this placement. You may suddenly gain a lot of wealth because of your joint assets with your spouse. That's possible. Alright, so such people can be very secretive, but then they can also be very intuitive and creative at the same time, because 8th house or Scorpio sign both are connected to the trine of moksha, which is the trine of compassion, intuition and creativity also. Such people, they have great creative abilities also within themselves, so they just need to unlock that. Yes, they need to kind of realize that they have great creative power, they have great original thinking ability. Okay, their way of thinking can be very original. Alright, so they have that inventive creative ability. So that's what they need to wake up to. They need to realize that, and they need to do research, investigation of the truth. They need to do meditation. They need to connect with certain higher energies through meditation and all that, and that will transform their life for the better actually, when people have Rahu in Scorpio, Rahu in the 8th house. Alright, okay, now let's move on to Rahu in Sagittarius or in the 9th house. When you have Rahu in Sagittarius or in the 9th house, you have some pending or unfinished karma pertaining to your father, it's possible, or to some guru. Alright, maybe some guru has changed your life in such a way that now you are no longer following your own religion. You are getting drawn to some other religion, to some other religious philosophy, because that guru has totally changed your way of looking at life. Yeah. Your entire worldview has shifted or changed because of that guru's presence in your life. That is possible. Alright? When you have Rahu in Sagittarius or in the 9th house, you have some pending karma attached to your father. So you may be away from your father, you may have conflicts with your father, whatever be the condition, situation, you need to take care of your father. Some responsibilities, your duties, whatever duties you need to shoulder, you have to do that towards your father. Alright, that is the best remedy for Rahu in Sagittarius or in the 9th house. Okay, so yeah, and when you have Rahu in Sagittarius or in the 9th house, then you can definitely be obsessed with acquiring higher knowledge, higher education. It can be very important for you. You may be very much attached to acquiring knowledge. You want to acquire knowledge. You are so obsessed. So such people, they can do specialization in more than one field. They can have masters, or they can even have high degrees in more than one field of knowledge. It's possible because they are so obsessed with acquiring knowledge, higher knowledge. Alright, now if Rahu is look at how Jupiter and Sun are placed in your chart. When you have Rahu in Sagittarius or in the 9th house, look at Jupiter's position especially. If Jupiter is not so well placed, then such people will encounter obstacles in their fortune. Okay, they will encounter a lot of obstacles. They may deviate from their path of dharma or duty. They may escape from their responsibilities just because they are not bothered. They may kind of escape from their responsibilities towards their family, towards society, towards their job. So they may be an escapist if Rahu is not so well placed in the 9th house. So, and if it is in Sagittarius, Jupiter is not well placed, then these things can happen. Such people also can be very manipulative by nature. Alright, they can have an inflated ego. They could be very egoistic, even self-centric. It's possible. Okay, but if Jupiter is well placed in the chart, generally Jupiter is the ultimate benefic. If Jupiter is well placed, then definitely such people may do a lot of research in the field of higher studies also. Now find out how Jupiter is placed in your chart. Okay, so if Jupiter is in Capricorn, okay, so Capricorn is a sign where Jupiter is considered to be a little weak. Alright, but then I would say that such people, if you have Jupiter in Capricorn, they believe in their work. They don't believe so much in religious rituals and all, but they are very practical and they believe in their karma actually when you have Jupiter in Capricorn. So yeah, I mean, if then such people who have Rahu in the 9th house and or in Sagittarius and Jupiter is in Capricorn, then they will believe, they may not believe in their religion. Okay, they will believe in their own karma actually, and they'll be so obsessed with their own principles actually. So they will not follow the principles which have been handed down to them by their religion or culture. They will kind of rebel against all that, or they will differ, they will violate, or they will prefer to revolt against even their own religion or culture. That is also possible, their own tradition. And they may have, they may get drawn towards other cultures, foreign cultures, some other religion. It's possible. Now again, if Jupiter, look at how Jupiter is placed in the chart. If Jupiter is also, say Jupiter is well placed, it is in the 5th house. Look at Jupiter's position. Yes, then such people, they may do a lot of research in the field of higher knowledge, higher studies. They may do a lot of research. They may be engaged in researching religious texts. They may conduct a lot of research on religion, religious texts also, and they may come up with a unique, with a different, with an extraordinary religious philosophy after studying all the religious texts. That is also possible. Rahu in Sagittarius or in the 9th house, you may go to a foreign land. It's possible, because Rahu is the planet of foreign land, and Sagittarius or 9th house are also connected to foreign travel. So you may travel to a foreign land. That's possible. After you go to a foreign land, you may become fortunate. That is also possible. Okay, when you have Rahu in Sagittarius or in the 9th house. All right. Okay, the best remedy for Rahu in Sagittarius or in the 9th house is that you should always shoulder your duties, whatever duty you have towards your family, towards your society, towards yourself, towards your job or work. Just do your duty. That's very important. All right. Yeah, when you have, now let's move on to Rahu in Capricorn or in the 10th house. This is again a very powerful placement of Rahu. 10th house is an Upachaya house, and even Capricorn is connected to the 10th house of the cosmic man. So here Rahu feels comfortable actually. So yeah, but definitely initially you may encounter certain obstacles also in your profession. If your profession is connected to foreign lands, it's going to be good. If your profession is connected to the occult, to any field of hidden mysterious knowledge, if your profession is connected to research, investigation, then it's going to be good. Or there are some, you undertake foreign transactions in your profession, then it's going to be good. All right. Otherwise, if for your profession you need to leave your homeland, travel to a foreign land, then it's going to be good. Otherwise, you may encounter obstacles also in your profession. You may be confused as to what profession you need to adopt, and you may always be in a state of illusion in your professional life. That is possible. Okay, so this is also possible when Rahu will be in the 10th house and Rahu's dispositor is not well placed. Then you will be clueless, you will be so confused, you will not know how you need to make efforts in your profession so that you can rise in your profession. So you will encounter obstacles. All right. But if Rahu is more or less well placed, its dispositor is well placed in the chart, and if Rahu is in the 10th house or in Capricorn, then you'll be obsessed with structure. Okay, for you structure, for you discipline, these things will be important then. All right, and these things will take you a long way in gaining a lot from your profession. All right, so yeah, so you have to kind of focus on structure, on your responsibility, on your accountability when you have Rahu in the 10th house. Okay, so yeah, then you need to be obsessed with all that. Then such people who have Rahu in 10th house or in Capricorn, they may also be obsessed with authority and power. Yeah, so but yes, they will have to be obsessed with structure and obsessed with their work first, and then eventually they will move up the ladder. So here you can, and then they could find themselves in administrative positions or in positions of power and control and authority. Possible. Rahu in the 10th house, if Sun is also well placed in the chart, if Rahu in Capricorn or 10th house, it can also be a very good position for being an administrator, for being a politician also. You could be you could do well in these fields. All right, because 10th house and Capricorn both are connected to your public image. Okay, so yeah, if you are diplomatic enough, if you're clever enough to deal with people, look at how dispositor is placed. And so if it is in Capricorn, then dispositor is Saturn, how Saturn is placed in the chart. And if it's in the 10th house, then look at the dispositor of Rahu. If it's well placed, you can do very well in your profession. Over time, you will see a lot of great growth in your profession. So this is a good placement actually for Rahu. So, but the condition is that you have to focus, you have to be obsessed with your work. There's no other way out. You have to be obsessed with your work. So when you're really obsessed with your work, and you're obsessed with your wealth as well, the gains from your work, even because 10th house is part of the Artha trine, the trine of materialistic pursuits. And Rahu is also materialistic, so such people can be very materialistic, those who have Rahu in the 10th house. And their desire to gain materialistic things in life, their desire to gain wealth in life will actually impel them to work hard and to be obsessed with their work. So that will ultimately enable them to do well in their field of profession. If your profession is connected to foreign MNCs, foreign transactions, foreign cultures, foreign lands, if your profession is connected to research, investigation, occult, then it's going to be very good for you actually. Now let's move on. It could be any field of research, investigation, okay? Whether it's a field of law, medical science, any field, okay? Or it could be the field of occult science. So all these fields are very good. It could also be chartered accountancy and so on, okay? Yeah. So overall, it's generally considered to be a good position when Rahu is in the 10th house or in Capricorn, provided the dispositor is well placed. Now let's move on to Rahu in Aquarius or in the 11th house. When Rahu is in Aquarius or in the 11th house, then such people could be obsessed about their gains from profession. Okay, they really want to be rich, wealthy, prosperous in life. All right, look at the dispositor when Rahu is in the 11th house, and if Rahu is in Aquarius, you have to look at how Saturn is placed in the chart. If more or less well placed, then you will make a lot of efforts to gain from your profession, from your work, to gain from your social networks, to gain from your social circle, to gain from even your elder siblings, to gain from all relationships that you have with people. The ultimate purpose of your life will be to gain from everything, right? So yeah, you could be very materialistic because the 11th house is part of the Kama Trikona, the trine of materialistic desires. Okay, so such a placement, Rahu in Aquarius or Rahu in the 11th house, can make a native very materialistic, very goal oriented, target oriented. Okay, but if the dispositor is not so well placed in the chart, then a person may chase unrealistic targets, the person may have unrealistic goals, and it may be very difficult for them to fulfill those unrealistic targets and desires. Alright, so yeah, that also can happen if the dispositor is not well placed. Okay, now with this placement, a person can have Rahu in Aquarius or in the 11th house. They may have some secretive relationship with someone in their social circle, with somebody or with some people. So they could also be into multiple relationships. It's possible, secretive relationships they may have with people in their social circle, and they really want to gain from those relationships. They want favor from them. That is also possible. All right, so Rahu is the planet of illusion, Rahu is the planet of rebellion, Rahu is the planet of defiance and even a manipulation. So when you have Rahu in the 11th house, such people can, manipulate others for their own gains and benefits. It's possible. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that is again the remedy, what you should do. Instead of doing all that, instead of being manipulative, instead of being dishonest in your dealings with people in your social circle, what you should rather do, you should rather focus on your work. You should try to come up with original ideas, because Aquarius or 11th house, they're both connected to research, investigation, to creative ideas, to original thoughts. So come up with your creative ideas, and that is possible only if you acquire knowledge. Okay, so see how Jupiter and Saturn, they are placed in your chart. Okay, when you have this placement of Rahu, if they are more or less well placed, then a person will definitely acquire knowledge and come up with their creative ideas. They will engage themselves in research, investigation, thorough in-depth study, and they will come up with creative ideas, original thoughts, which they can implement in their work, in their job, in their business. And those ideas, their creativity, their originality, their inventive ability, okay, will actually take them a long way in being successful in their work, in their business. All right, and ultimately they will gain a lot. Okay, so when you have Rahu in Aquarius or in the 11th house, focus on your creative energy. Aquarius is also an air sign, which is a sign of intelligence. All right, so such people can be very, very intelligent, very intelligent. So they also will have a lot of desires, because this is the trine of materialistic desires. So in order to fulfill your desires in life, make use of your intelligence, make use of your analytical skills. All right, then you will be truly successful, wealthy and prosperous in this lifetime. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Rahu in Aquarius or Rahu in 11th house is generally a good placement. It can make you very successful in life. People generally tend to be a little manipulative with this position. But yeah, if Jupiter is well placed and Saturn is well placed in the chart, then they will believe in their own hard work. Okay, they could be diplomatic, because in business, in dealing with people, no matter what business you do, even if you're connected to big organizations or corporate sectors, or if you're doing your own business, whatever you do, we definitely have to be somewhat diplomatic. Okay, so yeah, so they will know how to they could be very clever, very diplomatic in their dealings with people, and their ability to judge situations, their ability to they could also be blessed with great intuitive insights also. When you have Rahu in Aquarius or even in the 11th house, they could have great intuition also. All right, if so this is a very good placement for also being for going into the occult fields. You could be an occultist, you could be a psychologist, you could be a researcher, investigator, you could be into any independent business. You could do very well in your independent business. Or even if you're doing a job also, if you're using your ability to analyze situations well, if you're using your intellectual insights into reality well, then you will be very successful in your profession, no matter what you do. Okay, whether job, whether business, you'll be successful. All right, yeah, with this placement, one can be a healer, one can be an occultist, yes, one can be a scientist with this position of Rahu. So any field of research, investigation, and when you are actually chasing your desires, okay, you are really obsessed with your desires and you're really making efforts along that direction, then no one can stop you from being successful and prosperous in life. All right, with this placement of Rahu. Now let's move on to the final placement, Rahu in Pisces or in the 12th house. Yeah, when Rahu is in the Pisces or in the 12th house, okay, so what pending karma or unfinished karma you have? So definitely 12th house is part of the moksha trine, the trine of moksha, liberation, self-realization, even intuition, compassion. So some pending karma, unfinished karma is connected to the unprivileged, to the physically and mentally challenged. It could be there. Alright, so when Rahu is in Pisces or in the 12th house, you actually need to be charitable to people. Okay, you really need to be charitable. You need to be compassionate to those people who are in suffering, people who are in pain, people who are in trouble. You need to be actually compassionate towards them when you have Rahu in Pisces or in the 12th house. You need to be kind also to your own servants. Very important. Now, try to donate something valuable to the physically and mentally challenged people. Be kind to birds, animals, creatures, that also. When you have Rahu in Pisces, then Rahu is in Pisces, and Rahu is somehow connected to, say, your Saturn or 10th lord, okay, or if say Rahu's dispositor is in your 3rd house, then such people can have a very unique way of communication. Okay, now if Rahu in the 12th house, Rahu is connected to, say, 10th house or Saturn, and if Rahu's dispositor is in the 3rd house of communication skills, you could be a language expert. You could teach language to others. It's possible. Alright, you could be into technology. You could be into communication technology, into information technology. That is also possible. Alright, now because 12th house, it is a trine of intuition also. So 12th house is also connected to research, investigation. It is also connected to meditation, yoga, to spiritual practices, also to occult practices. So you could be obsessed with these things, and these things will give you good results. Alright, if you are doing some research in language or in any field of study, you're doing some research. Okay, so that will help you a lot actually when you have Rahu in the 12th house. So you actually, Rahu is also your obsession and focus. So now you have to focus on investigation, research. Okay, you have to focus on being selfless, not selfish but selfless. And that is why I mentioned at the beginning that you have to believe in charity, in helping those people who are in trouble, who are in need of help, who are unprivileged, downtrodden, reaching out to them and helping them out. That is the best remedy for Rahu in Pisces or in the 12th house. So you have to focus on not just on charity, but you can also focus on investigation, research, on the subconscious mind. So you could also be a very successful psychologist, psychological counselor, healer, teacher, religious preacher, spiritual guide when you have this position of Rahu in 12th house, because you have to now impart something to others. So 12th house is the house of Pisces. See how Jupiter is placed in the chart. Alright, and Jupiter and Saturn, how they are placed in the chart. If they are more or less well placed, then you will impart knowledge to others. You'll be obsessed with imparting knowledge to others. If you do that, that will be good for your overall life. So with this placement of Rahu, one can be a teacher, healer, occultist and so on. Especially if Rahu has some connection with Saturn or 10th lord, then it can definitely happen. Okay, or even 6th lord, because 6th lord is also the house of your day-to-day work. 6th house is the house of your job. Now Rahu in 12th house, such people can be obsessed with their own imagination, right? Obsessed with their own imagination, it's possible. So they may have challenges in maintaining a proper daily routine, because then when Rahu is in the 12th house, Ketu will be in the 6th house. So somehow it will be challenging, it could be challenging for them to maintain their daily routine. Okay, it's possible. Then such people know they should actually maintain a proper daily routine when they have Rahu in the 12th house. Otherwise they may suffer from lack of sleep, insomnia, or various sleep disorders, because 12th house is also the house of sleep, and when Rahu is in the 12th house, you may not be able to get proper sleep, sound sleep. Why? Because Ketu in the 6th house, so of your daily routine, so there could be certain breaks in your daily routine, certain obstructions you may face in maintaining your proper daily routine. So as a result of that, what will happen, you may not be able to eat properly. You should eat at regular intervals, and you should go to bed in proper time. So when your whole routine is going to be disturbed somehow, then what will happen, you will see that you will not be able to get proper sleep. So the best remedy is to actually be very disciplined about your routine life, okay, and so that you can sleep peacefully. Sleep is very important. Actually, it gives us energy. It is a we regain energy to face new challenges on the following day, only when we are able to get proper sleep. Yes, so it re-energizes the body, and it's very important. So yeah, so you need to be careful about your daily routine when Rahu is in the 12th house. Rahu in the 12th house, you may have some hidden enemies. That's possible. Okay, so you may have certain enemies who are hidden. Okay, and you may also be kind of at times you may really think about you may be worried also. When Rahu is in the 12th house, such people, they may be obsessed with certain fears, fear of certain hidden enemies. They may have certain fears actually when Rahu is in the 12th house. So the doing meditation and breathing exercise, this is the best remedy for Rahu in the 12th house. Okay, and people who have Rahu in the 12th house, they should never go out alone in the night time, in the dark, especially when it is time to go to sleep in the late night hours. They should never go out alone in the dark. That also they should be careful about. So when Rahu is in the 12th house, if Jupiter and Saturn are more or less well placed, such people can also be very creative, very imaginative. They may have great power of imagination. They can also be very intuitive. Yeah, they will be a little secretive by nature, but they can be very intuitive, very creative. All right. If again Jupiter and Saturn are not so well placed, then Rahu in the 12th house or Rahu in Pisces, such people, they may be obsessed with bed pleasures. That is also possible. They may have secretive relationship with someone of the opposite gender outside marriage. That is also possible. Okay, because they are obsessed with those momentary pleasures. Again, that is possible. But if Jupiter and Saturn are more or less well placed, then usually from the age of 42 onwards, such people will realize that these things are basically, indulging in casual sex, or indulging in illicit relationships with people. They are matters of momentary pleasures, and they are not going to take anybody anywhere. So they will realize that. So from the age of 40, 42 onwards, they tend to mature also. So this will happen when look at how Rahu is placed in the D9 chart. If in the D9 it's in a better position, and also look at if Rahu is in Pisces or Rahu is in the 12th house, how the dispositor is placed. Alright, then eventually such people will turn towards charity. They will turn towards research, investigation, towards the occult, towards attaining self-realization also. They can also definitely move towards meditation, even spirituality also. That is also possible. They could be obsessed with discovering their own self. They could be obsessed with attaining self-realization, and that could make them undertake meditation also. This is also possible, but then for that Jupiter and Saturn, they have to be more or less well placed in the chart. Okay, then such people will finally delve deep into their own selves. Okay, they will try to figure out what is the purpose of their life. They will try to attain self-realization. They can also guide others. They could be into healing, they could be into counseling, teaching. They can be a spiritual guide, a religious preacher. They can impart knowledge to others after they themselves have attained knowledge through research, investigation, through in-depth study of certain subjects. So then after that they'll be in a position to even impart knowledge to others, to help others also. That is also possible. So Rahu in Pisces or Rahu in 12th house people, they have to understand that they should never waste their sexual energy. Okay, the sexual energy that every individual possesses in themselves is very powerful in itself. Okay, so that energy should not get drained in a negative way by indulging in illicit relationships or casual relationships. No, then such people, they will encounter losses in life, a lot of expenditure, a lot of losses they will have to face in life, a lot of problems, difficulties, even health issues they may have to face with that placement of Rahu in Pisces or 12th house. Alright, they have to realize that they have to focus on themselves, they have to focus on attaining knowledge, they have to use their power of intuition. Okay, do some meditation, connect with the divine. They have to focus on gaining more and more knowledge. They have to engage themselves in research, in-depth study, investigation. So when they realize these things, then definitely Rahu in Pisces or in 12th house will eventually start giving them good results also. And their power of intuition and creativity will get enhanced. Okay, and will ultimately help them to be prosperous in life. Okay, yeah. So friends, that was my take on Rahu in all 12 signs, Rahu in all 12 houses. Alright, so what unfinished karma Rahu is trying to denote or signify because of its placement in a certain sign or house. You can look at both D1 and D9 charts, yes, but Rahu's position in D9 starts getting activated from the age of 33 when the native attains the age of 33. So after 33 onwards, the results of Rahu in placement in D9 will be felt more, but Rahu's placement in D1, those results you can experience all throughout your life. That was my take on the planet Rahu in different positions in the horoscope, the planet of mystery, the planet of secrecy. Alright, so definitely even also intuition, yes. So the planet which is definitely connected to our past life, because the planet Rahu shows the pending karma, the unfinished karma that we are born to fulfill in this lifetime. Alright friends, So yeah, if you want personal consultation, you can text or WhatsApp me. All right. And yeah, do like, share, subscribe, support this channel of yours, friends. And before I wind up, if you really want Lord Rahu to bless you with great expansion and growth in life, then be charitable to the needy, to the unprivileged. All right. And take care of your parents. Be kind to all animals, birds and creatures. Thank you so much.